So I push off the bottom and I start
Paddling.
finning,
Yeah,
finning, finning,
finning.
finning, finning, finning. I got no fins on.
Hi, everyone. This is Sandy Adams, and you're listening to a Southern Girls View podcast. Hey, everyone. It's Sandy Adams, and I'm back with another podcast of A Southern Girls View. And today I have in the studio Mr. Steve Heiner. And he has a pretty exciting background, and I'm not going to get into the details. We're going to do that as we do our podcast interview. So, Steve, welcome to the studio today.
Hey, thank you for letting me be here.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, just a little background of why I have Steve on here is I was at one of my clients' stores the other day, Glacier Pool Supplies and Spas, and Steve was in there, and he came up to me and was asking me if I was waiting in line, and we struck up a conversation, and we got to talking about somehow we got to talking about CPR, and you mentioned
Right.
that you knew CPR and you had actually saved one somebody's life recently here in Clear Lake, and that led me to asking how you knew it, and you said, well, you used to be a rescue diver. So I was like, that's a fascinating story, and we just really hit it off, and I thought that would be a great person, because part of my podcast is just the interesting people that I meet, just like you.
Right.
And I want to share your stories with everybody else out there.
Wow,
So
that's fantastic.
so that is why I asked you to be on here, and for all of you out there listening today. So I'm going to start this off with Steve. Where did you grow up?
Okay,
Where were you born?
I grew up in a little town in Michigan called Potterville.
Potterville.
Yeah, I think when I grew up, there was a population of 3,000.
Wow,
people there
that's
in the
smaller
town.
than mine.
Yeah, it's real small. And I tell you what, though, it was pretty fantastic growing up in Michigan, in a little town like that, in the school district that we were in. Of course, everybody knew everybody there. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
Right.
I've met a lot of people over my lifetime, and they tell me they grew up in schools that have around, I don't know, 2,000 graduates in their classes.
Oh,
in
no,
high
I didn't
school,
do
and
that.
It's like unbelievable. But no, I think I was very fortunate. I grew up on a little farm up there in Michigan. We raised a whole bunch of, a little of everything,
A little of
pretty
it.
much. Yeah. And just a little town outside of Lansing, Michigan.
Right.
Yeah.
Where did your parents were they originally from Michigan? Did they grow up there?
Yeah, Mom was right there, lived right around Lansing.
Mhm.
Went to, I think she went to Everett High School right there in Lansing, on
Right.
Pennsylvania Avenue. And my dad grew up right there in
Right.
Lansing as well. Yep.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yep. Got one brother and one sister. Still live in Michigan.
Still live in
Those poor
Michigan.
kids. Yeah, my brother always whines at me from time to time about all the snow that they get out there in the cold. And I say, hey, bro, all you got to do is
I have
pack up the truck and move south.
I have a sister in Boston and a brother in Omaha, and I'm like, hey, it's sunny down here in
That's
70,
right.
and they're like, oh, shut up.
You know, I talk to them all the time. They still like it up there. They still like the cold. They like the changes of the seasons. So, more power to them.
That's right.
Happy for them.
So, what did you want to be when you were a little kid? What did you want to grow up to be?
Yeah, when I was a little kid, I don't know. Really wanted to be. I studied architecture in high school. I
Right.
really liked numbers and building things with my hands.
Right.
And when I got up in high school, of course, you know, back then they had industrial arts classes.
I
shop
remember that. I
classes.
remember that, yes.
Yeah, they don't have those anymore,
Yeah.
from what I understand. But I started doing, you know, drafting work, architectural engineering work, and then when I got out of high school, I jumped right into college and studied architectural engineering.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we were talking earlier about how you told me how you got to Houston. Why don't you share kind of that little story?
Yeah, so I was, while I was going to college, I was working for a little concrete forming and shoring company right there in Lansing, up by the airport, doing concrete forming design work. And then eventually, after I got out of school, I took a job down near Detroit with another little company doing concrete forming and shoring.
Right.
And the company that actually bought us was out of the UK, and they were just coming into the country around the end of '79, early '80s,
Right.
and they decided to put their corporate office here in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
The commercial industry was picking up here. The commercial areas started booming. Houston downtown was being built. The Galleria was being built.
Right.
And the oil industry started booming again back in the early '80s.
Right.
So it was a pretty good choice for them to put their corporate office right here. So they brought all their toys over, all their forming and shoring and their scaffolding. And me being the designing
Right.
guy that I was up there in Detroit, they bought this company, and because they got so busy down here, they asked me to come down here and help them out.